Alright, this video will show you how you can start planning out where you're headed on your road trip. We are kind of in between our car buying and our planning, so you may be finishing up your car buying and that's just fine, but then we're going to switch over and start planning out where we're headed. I have my example here, and I do have my 3 cars that I have kind of compared, and I have chosen this one up here. I actually chose to put a little trophy here. You can go to insert and insert an emoji. That's how I found that trophy. Again, the most important thing is that you're choosing which car you're going to drive so that you'll be able to start tracking the mileage and things like that as we keep going. On your spreadsheet down here at the bottom, yours will have a day 1 right here. You can flip over to that tab, and this is how I have planned out my day 1. It's important to show you this though. On yours, it'll look just like this. The first day here, I don't want you to just jump in and start adding your information right away. What you should do is click on this little arrow, and then you've got the choice to duplicate. So that will make another spreadsheet for our day 2. And you can click on that little arrow again to rename it, and you can type in day 2. And if I were you, I would suggest just the first thing you'll do is just kind of repeat those steps. If you do a right click on there, you also have the choice to, there you go, then you have the choice to duplicate, or click that little arrow. Duplicate, duplicate, and then rename. So I can rename the same way. This is going to be day 3. You can actually double click in there also. Day 4, day 5, and so on. My example here shows that on my first day, so I'm on day 1 here, I have decided that I'm going to travel from Middleton to Mitchell, South Dakota. And I have used Google Maps. I'll show you that in just a second, and that has shown me that it's going to be 491 miles, and the time is going to be 7 hours of driving time to get there. It's doable. You can have long days of driving. That's up to you and your plan, but you are going to want to think about, driving 19 hours in one day is pretty hard. So maybe one day you could do that, but it's going to be hard to do that every day. I found a place just by doing a Google search for hotels in Mitchell, South Dakota, and I chose to stay at this Comfort Inn and Suites. It would be $121 a night, and I did find the link to that hotel, and so I pasted that link in here so that I've got my information as I'm going. You're also going to plan out at least one meal here, and I do want you to just focus on one meal, and I found a nice Mexican restaurant called the El Cuprillo, and I'm going to spend around $13 per meal. I did find a menu, and I could look at the cost of different menu items, and about $13 per meal, so I can make an estimate off of that. I also found a restaurant link. It was actually a Yelp.com, so this is kind of a website that kind of critiques different restaurants, but that was the best website that I could find for that restaurant. And things to do and see in Mitchell. There's not a lot to see in Mitchell, but they have this funny roadside attraction called the Corn Palace. So I thought we'd pretend that we'd stop at the Corn Palace, and admission there is free, and I've got the link there. It is important to grab some pictures again, so I've got a picture of the Corn Palace and my meal, and then I'd be ready to move on to my next day. You can see for my day 2, we're driving then from Mitchell, South Dakota, all the way to the Badlands National Park. It's another 205 miles, just about 3 hours to get there. Again, I found this in Google Maps, and I'll show you that as well. We're going to stay at the Cedar Pass Campground, which is a campground right inside the park. It does cost $32 a night to stay there, I found on the website, and I kept that link to the website there as well. The link to the campground for me to stay here. We decided, or I was pretending that I would decide that we would just hit up a grocery store to buy some groceries to make camp food, and it's around $5 per meal. And I found a link to a Wall Drug Food Center that's nearby the Badlands State Park, National Park. There is a cost, things to see. Obviously, we're going to be hiking and doing things in the park, and there is a $30 entrance fee that I found, so I wanted to make sure I put that in there as well. I guess I didn't put in the link to Badlands State or National Park, but I certainly could. You certainly could too. I know I've got the link to the campground that we're going to. And again, I found some good pictures of what we would see there and kept them on this page. I'm moving on to day 3, and again now on day 3 I'm just choosing that we're going to actually just stay in Badlands. So we're not traveling at all on day 3, so 0 miles, we're not driving at all. We're staying that night again at the same campground, and it's going to be another $32. And we're just making camp food, and again it'd be about $5. Things to do and see, I found a couple of cool trails that I wanted to hike, the Door Window Trail and the Notch Castle Trail, and again I found some pictures here. So that's kind of what you're going to be doing as you're filling out each of your days of your trip. Again, as you get to the last day here, don't forget that you want to probably just copy or make a duplicate of the last day that you have and keep going on so you don't have to go back and delete a bunch of stuff. You can use Google Maps. I know most people are familiar with Google Maps. You've got the app launcher right over here. There's Google Maps. Remember, we are all starting in Middleton, so I suggest starting by typing in Middleton. You've got Middleton, Wisconsin. And now to actually find like your distances and things like that, you're going to want to come here to Directions. And now in Directions, you can switch this so that your starting point is in Middleton, and then I'm going to be heading to Mitchell, South Dakota. And Google Maps will tell you a lot of very handy information. It shows you on the map where you're headed. Again, it shows me that it would be about 7 hours and 5 minutes, and it would be 491 miles to get there. Again, you can use these tools to start filling out your information. As far as finding hotels, campgrounds, and that sort of thing, I do suggest just using Google. Type in hotels in Mitchell, South Dakota, or wherever you're going to be, and you should be able to find a hotel room. Again, you're going to need the website, the cost, and any other information of what you might want to see there.